Are you watering your garden like this? If so, you're doing it wrong. Today I'm going to show you some tips and tricks to help you water your garden more effectively and more efficiently to help you grow stronger, healthier plants using the deep watering method. We're going to talk a little bit about the importance of mulching and how to check your soil moisture level before you water. The very first and most important tip when it comes to watering your plants is checking the moisture level. You're not going to want to water if the soil is already moist and damp. Your plants just don't need water. However, if the soil is dry and crumbly and lacks moisture, we're going to want to add water. So before we do our deep watering method, we want to check the moisture level around our plants. The best way I found to do this is by using the fingertip method. So I'll stick my finger in the soil and I'm gonna stick it down 1 to 2 knuckles and determine if the soil is damp and moist or if it feels dry to the touch. This is gonna be a good indication of whether or not our plants actually need water. And we wanna do this often to ensure that the soil stays moist. We want a consistent moisture level within that soil. This is gonna produce the healthiest, strongest plants throughout the growing season. A healthy plant is going to be dark green and look happy and healthy. A good indication that your plants need moisture and need to be watered is they begin to look droopy, wilty, and just kind of sad and pitiful looking. That's a really good indication that they're not getting enough water. Alternatively, a plant that has where you see yellowing of the leaves could indicate a nitrogen deficiency. And a lot of times that nitrogen deficiency is because there's too much water in the soil. If the soil is too wet, if it's staying saturated, it's hard for your plants to take up the nutrients that it needs, specifically nitrogen. In this case, you're going to want to hold off on deep watering your plants, but you are going to want to add a water-soluble all-purpose fertilizer around the base of your plants. You can mix this up in a watering can and just add a little bit around the base of your plants. That will penetrate down to the roots, adding just a little bit of a boost of all of the nutrients that it needs, but specifically nitrogen. So to deep water effectively, we're going to want to put water directly at the base of the plant. And we're going to hold that water there for 30 to 60 seconds. This will encourage the roots to go deeper as the water will actually penetrate the soil surface and go down about 6 to 12 inches. So this is what really encourages that strong root development. The best time to water your plants is either early in the morning or late in the evening, late in the afternoon. Morning is probably better because it gives enough time for the water to evaporate off of the leaves. If you were to water in the evening, that's still okay, but you could wind up with some fungal or disease issues or some mold or algae growing on the soil surface. So we want to give the plants a nice, good soaking of water. And usually, most often, you would probably do this 1 to 2 times a week rather than a quick mist every single day. Again, this is going to be dependent on your conditions. In the heat of summer, you may find that you have to water more often, especially if you're not getting a lot of rain. Whereas if it's colder outside, your plants are not going to need as much water. You're probably not going to have to do this as often. But again, that's why testing your soil moisture level is really important. That's about good. Adding mulch is a great way to help lock that moisture in for your plants and have to water less often. So adding something like pine shavings or straw around your plants and doing a fairly deep layer of that after your seedlings have sprouted up and begin to grow, what that'll do is kind of help lock that moisture into the soil. The ground does not like to be bare. It does not like to be exposed. If you leave any patch of soil exposed for any length of time and there's nothing growing in it, pretty soon you're going to find weeds in that space. Why? Because the soil doesn't like to be uncovered. So if we can add mulch, we're going to not only lock in that moisture and have to water less often and protect our plants and their root systems, we're also going to help with things like erosion and losing the nutrients that are in the soil because they're not getting baked off by the sun. This is especially true if you live in a place, like I said, where it's really hot. and really dry, that soil is going to dry out very, very quickly. Another important note about watering is the type of soil that you have plays a big role in how often and how much you need to water. Clay, heavy soil is going to retain that moisture a lot longer, and what you may wind up with is your plants standing in water because it's not able to drain. If you have sandy soil, this may lead to the opposite problem where your water drains out way too quickly and you're fighting all season to keep your plants watered. So a good practice really before you even plant is to make sure you have good organic matter in your soil. Compost is going to be your best friend when it comes to moisture retention. If you want to be really effective and really efficient, things like adding drip irrigation or using soaker hoses that direct water directly to the base of your plants can be a really great option. This is not only going to save you time from having to come out and water, but it's also going to direct water at the base of the plant, conserving water ultimately, and ensuring that that water level stays consistent, which is again what we want. We don't want plants drying out, and we don't want them in standing, saturated, soaking soil. These options can cost a little bit of money, so there is an investment in money once you get your garden going. If you want to implement this, you could, but ultimately you really could just come out, check your moisture level probably every day during the heat of the summer. Another great option is using watering cans. So I just showed you using a hose, but you could take a watering can and fill it up and pour it out slowly at the base of your plant. A lot of times using a watering can can be better than a hose because you won't get as much splashback on your leaves. You won't get as much water sitting on your leaves. So this can be really helpful. However, it's very time consuming if you have a large garden. So that's something to think about. Ultimately, watering your plants well, using the deep watering method, adding things like mulch, are going to lead you to a much more productive growing season. They're going to lead you to healthier, stronger plants. You're going to encourage stronger root development and a much less frustrating experience. If you're trying to deal with plants that don't have enough water or plants that are struggling, it can be a very frustrating growing season. So to avoid that, use the deep watering method to grow your plants healthy and strong for the entire season. Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. If you got value in it, hit that like button, subscribe for more beginner-friendly gardening tips. This entire year, this entire season is going to be about your first-year gardener. So especially if that's you, definitely subscribe for more tips. If you've been gardening for a while, hang out with us and definitely leave some comments down below. You probably have some valuable insights to add to new gardeners. So whatever tips and tricks you found to water your garden effectively, leave them down below. I'm going to leave a video up on the screen for you guys to check out until the next video comes out. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. May your garden be filled with grace and may you be abundantly blessed. We'll see you next time. Bye.